well, welcome back to another episode of the Ice Mac podcast. Before we get into it, we are on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. So look us up, leave comments, concerns, questions, criticism, because we say a lot of dumb shit. So
we do.
But
share with the boys. Come on,
yeah, of course.
The girls are allowed to.
Show us some love. Show us some love.
There's a reason I'm a thumbnail every week, and that's because we are trying to capture the female audience. No, we did for the viewers.
Some choice words for that I'm not gonna share.
for the viewers, we had a discussion because if you do watch on YouTube, which by the way, thank you, because we hit over 100 viewers in a day and a half, something like that. That was pretty incredible. But it's funny because all of our podcast episodes that we've done on video are me on the thumbnail, and I am the one that posts on YouTube, but I never set that. Like, I never click the generated thumbnails. So it's just, I had to poke the bear a little bit with that.
No, he says that, but he secretly like scrolls through the video and makes sure it's when the zoom's on him. You can say that. You can say that. We all see through the lies, okay?
The only time I've ever actively set myself as a thumbnail is because they give you like these 4 or 5 generated thumbnails.
Yeah.
And they were all me. But the one that they had on was like me making the funkiest face on planet Earth. So I was like, I'm not letting that slide. So I clicked to a different one. But otherwise, like the last episode, so my computer didn't upload the video. So it wasn't until like 8:30 p.m. whenever I got back home from work and got it all back in working order where I finally got it posted. I didn't look at the thumbnail. I didn't know what was going on there. Maybe I need thumbnail training. Maybe I need YouTube posting training like the Nevada State Athletic Commission needs, because they're going through 10-8 training following the main event of the most recent card, which, Alex, I will not stand in your way any longer. I know that, for one, Tina's your girl. I know you didn't like the ending of that fight. So go ahead.
All right. So before I say anything else, I would have been less upset about this result if it was a 3-2 Grasso decision. Mm-hmm. Because it was close. I acknowledge that. I'm going to be biased towards Valentina, but I could see that 4th round going either way. But the fact that we have a judge, 2 judges, who gave Valentina 1, 3, and 4, and it goes to a draw because of a 10-8 in the 5th. What are we? Mike Bell, you are public enemy number 1. I am so pissed off at you. So mad. Because that fight deserved a winner. That was an awesome fight. And both Grasso was stuck in a guillotine, I think, for a while. She got out of it. Valentina got knocked down. She responded and got out of it. That fight deserved a winner one way or another. And of course, it's going to be even more infuriating for me when Valentina was on the wrong end of maybe the most egregious 10-8 in UFC history. That was so stupid. She was winning 3 minutes of that round. And again, Grasso with the last 2, she, capitalized on a Valentina mistake, got her in a bad position. She won round 5, but a 10-8 round is 5 minutes of dominance. And that was 2 minutes of dominance from Alexa Grasso and 3 of, I wouldn't say Valentina dominance, but clear winning, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I am so mad. If that fight doesn't get run back, I'm gonna riot. I'm gonna drive to Vegas and riot at UFC headquarters. I am not happy.
I will say, we have had plenty of 10-8, 10-9 squabbles on this podcast. We probably had that conversation 5, 6, 7 times about different fights, and all within a reasonable, spot to where it could have been argued either way. There was no arguing that the 5th round of that fight was a 10-8. Regardless, though, I'm not all that caught up by the actual decision. Yes, it was ridiculous. It should not have been the case, but this should have been a trilogy no matter what. After watching all 5 rounds, this needs to be a trilogy fight. I am okay with, because at least it was indecisive as opposed to like Grasso winning by that split, because then, maybe they don't want to rebook it. At least with the indecisiveness of this decision, you do get almost a guaranteed trilogy. Because if Dana doesn't make this a trilogy, then what is he doing? I think you could possibly main event a actual pay-per-view with this and not a fight night, because people are going to be invested. I think this was one of the more fortunate outcomes from what could have happened there, because while I do think Tina would have won, it wasn't exactly like she was out of the woods. And so it going the other way and it going in Grasso's favor was definitely worse in my mind, because it potentially takes us out of the trilogy.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think just with how close that fight was, it would have been. I saw Mookie climbing up on the ESPN flag.
Yeah, she's back over
Before
there.
when you were talking, I saw that.
Oh, really? Is that why she was meowing?
Huh?
Is that why she was meowing?
I didn't hear that. I just saw her. I saw her clawing up at the ESPN flag while you're talking. I thought that was pretty funny. But
she's the nightmare that I love the most, and I mean that in the sweetest way. While you continue to talk, I'm gonna go remove her from the flag.
Yeah. So I think regardless of the decision, there should have been a third fight. And even if Grasso won, because that was close, and we've seen, or I guess if Grasso won, I don't think it should have been an immediate rematch. I think that's when you give it to a Blanchfield or a Manon. But because that's what happened with that's exactly what happened with Holloway and Volkanovski. The first two, Volkanovski more clearly won the first fight than the second, right? And then the second fight was a close split decision. It could have gone Max's way, but then they waited a little bit. They took some time in between Max and Volk fighting that third time. So I think it would have made sense if Grasso won. That's what they do. They maybe, do 1 or 2 fights in between. But I don't see Valentina losing to any of these other contenders. She would have been back for a third. But with this result or a Valentina win, you run it back. And it sucks, because I think, like I said, I think there should be a winner. And it's personally extremely upsetting to see that Valentina got stiffed completely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. She's definitely in a Holloway role, even if, like, let's say she does lose that fight and they say, no, you should probably take a fight or two and work your way back into it. She is the Holloway of that. Yeah, there's nobody's going to touch her. And that's very, known because of what we've seen her do through her reign.
Yeah.
It's just like you're ultimately going to get back to this. At least with this finish, people are going to be clamoring for that fight. And that's, if you're going to find a silver lining, that's about the only one I could find.
Yeah, it is, because we've complained about judging, and in these cases, it's, judges see it differently for different fighters. This is not the same as those, past kind of qualms we've had with judging. This is a complete meltdown. This is like a loss of like reason.
Yes. 1,000%. It did not play out how it should have. And that's I don't want to beat the dead horse. Like, because I do think everybody is talking about that fight for good reason. People should be getting called out for what happened. But hopefully we have something fresh to talk about it before too long, because we'll get that rematch.
Yeah. Let's move on to JDM Holland. This is just making me angry. So
yes. Okay. So since JDM is one of my rising stars, I'll go ahead and lead the trek here. He held his own. Do I think he definitively won that fight? I will not comment. But I know that it takes a lot to hang in there with Kevin Holland, especially for the full 15. He did that. He still looked good. It was a very close fight, and he delivered in a moment that I think most other people would fall flat in outside of like the truly dominant people like Khamzat Chimaev. And
See,
I'm proud of him. My last part was that I'm proud of him.
yeah. So I think I actually was it was a close fight, but I thought it was pretty clearly Jack. I thought 1 and 3 were his best rounds. Kevin got 2. I'm not upset with a split decision. But this isn't one where I'm like, ah, damn, Holland got stiff like Valentina. Like I thought Jack was way more accurate statistically. And it feels like his combos were just landing more. And this was one of my biggest fears with picking Holland in this fight, was that he is unwilling to grapple. Dude had 1 takedown attempt at the end of a round and didn't go back to that well. Like that was my biggest concern, and it reared its head in that fight.
Yeah, it's Kevin Holland lost more than JDM won, in my opinion, because Kevin, like you said, did have that path to victory on the ground. He just wouldn't take that path. I think JDM looked great, but with a guy like Kevin Holland, and maybe I should have rewatched it, because whenever I did see it, maybe I was being a little bit too pessimistic on JDM, and I was a little too caught up in the, Kevin Holland is who he is. I personally had that 2-1 for Kevin. I personally thought he won 1918, but or 29-28, you know what I'm saying? It's been a long day. But I'm with you there. I'm not really upset about how it unfolded, not only just for the Rising Stars thing, but because, it was a close enough fight that I do think you can have that preference on the scorecards. I don't know what you do with JDM next, because this feels like the right spot for him to be in at this very moment. And I'm scared that they're going to try to elevate him like crazy, and I don't think he's quite ready for that.
This is where I'd put him against a guy like Luque, maybe.
Yeah.
Luque
is
is
a bad man, though.
And I think that's going to test him a lot. Like that will show us if JDM has the ability to rise to the top of this welterweight division, because Luque is so skilled in all areas of MMA, like Kevin Holland, but chooses to use both the striking and the grappling.
He remembers that he actually can get on the mat and be okay, as opposed to Kevin, who thinks the floor is lava. I think a Luque JDM fight would be a really fun fight.
That'd be fun. That would really entertaining. That could headline a fight night, I think.
Oh yeah. I think enough people know who JDM is at this point that you're getting into that position where you either need to strap it to his back, or you need to just let it cool off a little bit and still let him meddle around in this range. But I think Luque is a nice bridge there. And then Kevin Holland, you never have to wonder what he's going to be doing. He'll just keep fighting.
He'll be doing something. Yeah.
He will take literally whoever the UFC gives him.
He'll fight before the end of this year, I imagine.
Yeah, he'll fight he'll maybe not the December card, but he'll be on a card in December.
Yeah.
Just because that's who he is. So in case you forgot who Raul Rojas Jr. is, he reminded you. Came out there.
That was a crazy punch.
Yeah. Came out there.
That was
and brought it, man. And I mean, we talked about kind of being a little bit, not concerned, but you want to be a little timid whenever it comes to a young guy and trying to figure out where his mindset is. I think his mindset's in the right spot, Eisman.
I totally agree with you. This was, like we said, this was a get right fight for him. And it was kind of nice to see him not rely on his grappling at all. Like he did all of that just by striking. And listen, again, like we said last week, this is a dude who's fought. His opponent was a guy who's fought primarily in Alaska. Like this is not the highest of levels of opposition, but it's just nice. It's nice to see him get back to getting some momentum and putting up a highlight reel too. Like that goes a long way for fighters, is just being able to have those moments where everyone in the room, everyone who's watching is just like, holy shit.
Yeah, you need stuff that whenever you do get a title shot, they can put on the sizzle reel ahead of your fight. And that is absolutely going to feature, assuming Raul ever gets to a belt. Like, for example, the Eddie Wineland knockout with Sean O'Malley. Do you understand how many times I've seen that now?
Yeah.
Because whenever you're a rising star and they give you guys like that and you knock it out of the park, they're going to keep showing it and be like, hey, look, this guy knocked this out of the park. And that's exactly what you have to do whenever you want to get out there. JDM did it for what, 3, 4, 5 fights? Just kept coming out, laying people out. We're getting plenty of that from Jalton Almeida. Like, the guys that you need to know have those moments. And Raul officially has one of those moments.
Yeah. 18 years old. Hopefully a lot more of those to come.
He's like, what, 6 years younger than you?
5. I'm 23. 5?
Yeah. 4 younger than me, 5 younger than you.
Yeah.
Golly.
The craziest thing is when you're getting older and you just see younger athletes at the highest level just like doing that.
Being able to use my actual birthday in like 2K and Madden, like whenever you do the road to the show, like, it hurts me. It hurts my heart. Yeah,
I think the biggest, like, wow, this is crazy in that kind of realm for me was when I was in college, at Syracuse. We played Duke at home, and Zion was in my class. And Zion being the same age as me, it's just like what is happening? Like, this guy is not real.
Dude, I used to get that at the college. Whenever we'd go out on Mondays, I'd be like, dude, it's just like, there's no way we're the same age. Yeah. But regardless, that is so far beyond UFC.
Yeah.
We're getting old and it sucks. Congrats, Raul Rojas Jr. All right, and then this last one, full transparency, not an expert on this one. I only saw bits and pieces of the highlights, saw what I saw on Twitter. She won. Tracy Cortez did it, takes the win. That's what matters. Nothing I was just super impressed with, but a win's a win and you move on.
I was impressed with how good she looked. It was a long layoff for Tracy Cortez, and it was a close fight. Like, they were going at it for 15 minutes, but she had to dig deep in that fight, and especially in the third round. Like, I was impressed with her for looking as good as she did against a good opponent after being out that long. I think that was I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and maybe I wasn't factoring in the layoff enough. She looked put together, but there was no Raul Rojas Jr. moment. You know what I mean? Like, there was never really nothing that ever is like, I don't think anybody watches the undercard and is going to be like, oh, I need to see the next Tracy Cortez fight. That's more or less what I'm referring to there. So, ultimately, good on her. Ready to see what happens next. Glad that she's back. And good win.
Yeah, very good win.
Yeah. So we've got a handful of predictions. And also, we did not mention this off the top. We have a draft today. So we have 6 categories, and we'll get into all of the nitty gritty of it before too long. But we are building the perfect fighter. And now, whenever, like, hypothetically, let's say for ground game, I decide I want Conor McGregor. He cannot take Conor McGregor for any of the rest of his selections. So they will slowly get removed. But before we get into any of that, we got to talk about predictions. Quick shout out Charles Jourdain, who is on this card. Always a fun time.
He's the main card opener, right?
Yes. He kicks us all off.
Yeah. So definitely, I think it starts at, when I checked, so the main card starts at 5 my time, so 7 Eastern. You're gonna want to tune in immediately to watch Charles Jourdain fight Ricardo Ramos. So that should be good. We're not gonna get too deep into that, but we will for the 3 top fights on the card, and we'll start with Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson. Two fighters Waterson Gomez. Okay, she's married. She's Michelle Waterson. She'll always be Michelle Waterson.
Yeah, I will refer to her. I'm gonna
it's
refer
like
to her.
Joanne Calderwood. No one's calling her Joanne Wood, bro. It's Joanne Calderwood.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro,
But the Wood thing is so much funnier.
it's funny, but like, I don't think of her as Joanne Wood. She's Joanne Calderwood. She'll always be. But you know, regardless, both fighters not on hot streaks right now, to say the least.
No.
I don't know how many fights in a row Waterson's lost. I think Marina's lost 2 in a row.
She's lost 2 in a row. As Bert Kreischer would say, story time. I did not know Karate Hottie was still on the roster.
Yeah.
I assumed she got cut or retired. Like, and I mean that, like, and not in a rude way or not in, but like, she's not who she once was.
No.
Is the point. You know, it's, you can get away with forgetting that she's on the roster these days. You're not going to forget Marina Rodriguez is hanging around. I don't care that she's on a 2-fight skid. She is a level above. She just is. And so I'm going to keep it short and I'm going to keep it sweet. I think Marina comes out there and either KOs her or TKOs her.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at Michelle's record right now. Lost 5 of her last 6. Granted, those losses were to 4 of those losses were to Lemos, Carla Esparza, Ioana Jędrzejczyk, and Marina Rodriguez as well. All good fighters. Obviously, 2 of them have been champs. Lemos just fought for a belt. The telling one is the loss to Luana Pinheiro, who is good and I think could end up being something, but she's still working her way up. And this is another one that feels like a get right for Marina Rodriguez, because her lack of grappling defense and ground ability has been exposed mightily. She is not very good.
No.
On the ground.
No, she is not. And she's got to keep it standing. Like, I mean, obviously.
That's the thing, is Waterson is the perfect person to fight to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it couldn't, it's like you said, it is a tune-up fight. It is a get-right fight. It's not supposed to be perfectly honest, it's not supposed to be on the main card of this, I don't think. I think if they could, they would hide it on the prelims, but I don't think they can get away with doing that to Marina, even though she is on a 2-fight skid. I think she's got enough name value to that they're kind of like, well, we have to keep her up here. I
would actually argue that Michelle has more of a name value than Marina, because she's been around for a while. Yeah. I bet if you ask 100, casual MMA viewers, more of them would know who the Karate Hottie is than Marina Rodriguez. So I think I actually think that it's Michelle who's kind of carrying this fight up to the top of the main card.
Maybe maybe I am just more snapped in on the fact that like recency and who is actually quality at this moment in time. But I would still like to think Marina is more well known. But I mean, like you said, Michelle has been around for. I bet that would be kind of close though. I bet that would be pretty in the same range. It would just depend on when you began being a casual. Because if it's within the last, I don't know, probably 3 years, you're probably not going to know who Michelle Waterson is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas, on the flip side, regardless, you're riding with me on KO TKO, right?
I don't know. Michelle's tough. I think it'll go to a decision.
Okay. But still Marina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was never a doubt.
Cool. Perfect. All right. So now we got somebody that I am forced to pick because of the state that I was born in. We have Bryce Mitchell, Thug Nasty from Arkansas, versus Dan Ige. And I think you have to just assume that Bryce Mitchell has to drag him to deep waters, because you do not want after watching what we saw against Ilya, and I know Ilya is a different beast. I'm not going to say that Ige and Ilya are in the same class, but I don't want to see Bryce stand. It's just not something I'm interested in.
Not with Dan Ige. Not with Dan Ige. Dan Ige is a tough guy to put out, but There's a clear cap on Dan Igue's on his there's a clear ceiling. He's never going to be a top, I would say, 8. And I think Bryce Mitchell has the potential to do that. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but his ex-girlfriend killed all of his like fruit trees or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? Was
yeah,
it fruit trees?
Dude, I'll do you one better. I had a buddy that is not to be named that was like up all night, I think, leaving bad reviews on that girl's tattoo shop.
Oh my God.
Because she has a tattoo shop in Conway or Searcy or wherever it is. And yeah, he sent me he sent in our group chat. He sent a screenshot of it and said, "Well, what do we have here?" And so I think he probably was being pretty evil to that girl's tattoo shop. But you don't mess with a man's fruit trees.
Yeah.
They teach you that in like 2nd grade in Arkansas. Yeah. You got to leave that alone.
Bryce Mitchell has just got that extra motivation going into this fight. He's got to do it for the fruit trees, man. But
well, he's already had to fight for his plums once. Why not add fruit trees there too?
But I think Bryce Mitchell, as long as he can rely on the ground game, I don't see it being much of an issue. I think he can get a submission here. Dan Ige is tough to take down, but clearly the skill levels on the ground are different. And yeah, I think this is a good way for Bryce to kind of get right after the monstrosity that was the Topuria fight.
Yeah. Well, and he says that he had the flu or COVID or whatever it was. Hopefully that is the case. Because for one, I would just hate for him to be, spinning lies like that and just being like, "Oh, well, I had a bad performance. Let's say I had a cold." I don't think he's the type to do that. Yeah, like I said, he's got to get him into those deep waters. He's just gotta hold him down. I'm actually going Bryce by decision here because, like you said, Dan is just a hard dude to keep a hold of. But I think Bryce will rack up that control time and just be more active in that camp, and that's going to be what elevates him to the win.
I saw the Bryce Mitchell camo shorts hype video on Twitter earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he brings them out again. You got to bring the camo shorts out for the fruit trees, right?
Dude, you have to. So Bryce should never not fight in camo trunks. He should always be wearing them. Same way Patty should always be in the orange. If we ever see him fight again, who knows where that guy went? Like there's guys that have to be in very specific. Like, Jose Aldo should not fight in anything that isn't yellow. Yeah, like you just got guys that are synonymous with it. Connor in the green.
Israel Adesanya shouldn't fight in anything that's not red.
Yeah, shout out China. China. But yeah, like you get like that should be a part of his identity. That should never go away. So yes, he should and he will bring out the camo shorts. That's a prediction. You can count me 1-0 or 0-1 on that if you want to.
I'm with you on that. I'm riding with you on that. I need to see it. You
think FanDuel's got something on that? You got a prop?
If you can do the color of Gatorade at the Super Bowl props, you can do what color shorts are UFC fighters wearing. Come on.
I pray that that's a real thing. I'll go look after we finish this episode. And then the final fight that we'll be predicting from this one, banger. We have had it on Matchmakers. We have been pumped about it. We have talked about it in the news cycle whenever it popped up because it was Fiziev, right? That was calling people out.
Yeah.
And Gamrot answered the call. Well, we're getting it now. And children, hide your eyes because you're going to watch televised war.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really violent. Like, it's going to be super bloody.
How do you not sound like a sadist whenever you have a UFC podcast? The pure joy on your face when you said this is going to be violent. I mean, like, I don't know if the camera was on you yet or not because, like, we don't have the side by side. We might start doing that. To where you do have both angles.
Yeah.
but the pure bliss that hit your face when you said that was just remarkable.
But hey, if you're a UFC fan, you know what it means, and you know you're gonna be tuned in for it. Especially, I mean, dude, after the Gaethje and Fiziev fight, how could you not? That was just carnage. That was insane.
Well, and the Gamrot Dariush fight.
Yeah, to a lesser extent, I think Dariush was a little more. I think it was a little clearer that Dariush was kind of having his way, and it wasn't as much of a back and forth. But it's still, listen, still a battle, still a battle for sure.
Still a great fight.
Yeah, but yeah, I think, God, I really don't like how much I pick against Mateusz-Gamrot on this podcast because I do like him a lot. I just don't think he's as good as a lot of the guys he's fighting, and he's proved me wrong a couple times. He's proved me right against Beneil. I just think when you take a guy like Rafael Fiziev, who I think still has the trajectory, like the positive trajectory, even after losing to Justin Gaethje, because he stood toe to toe with a bad dude for 15 minutes and didn't get knocked out. You know, some people I think would argue he won the fight. I'm not personally one of them. I remember I picked him, but I left thinking, whatever, it happens. So I think that experience is going to help Fiziev a lot in this fight.
And I think that's fair. I am going Gamrot.
Really?
Yes, I'm getting out ahead of it because while, yes, I do think Fiziev is going to be better on the feet and be a little bit more ready for war, I think Gamrot's so durable. It's a fitting word for today. That he's going to be able to survive that. And I think that we can expect him to mix in some late round takedowns because I think that he's got that level. Whereas I don't know about Fiziev. It's like, do I think he's incompetent down there? Not entirely, but like, I don't love it. Whereas with Gamrot, you do have that kind of fallback.
Well, what gives me confidence in that regard with Fiziev is what he did against RDA, who, one of the best grapplers in UFC history. Like, he held up, and in those late rounds, in those championship rounds, has Gamrot been? Oh, Gamrot has been in a headliner. So I was for a second, I was thinking like, well, he hasn't been to 5 rounds before, but no, both of these guys have headline cards. But yeah, I think I get a lot of confidence from what he did against a great striker like Gaethje and what he did against a great grappler like Rafael dos Anjos.
Yeah, and dude, it's totally fair. I think that with the carnage that can be caused, because I don't think Gamrot's getting lapped on the feet. I think it'll be a close battle on the feet. If Gamrot can remain relatively patient, because I don't expect anybody to be patient in this fight. I do expect it to be a bloodbath. But if he can just kind of be a little bit more selective about what he's doing and working those takedowns late after Fiziev rather is kind of chunking away at his gas tank and slowing down that little bit, I think that can make a huge difference. I do think it's going to be a decision. If it's not a decision, I probably lost. Just because Fiziev is crazy.
Yeah.
But
he is crazy.
Yes, he is a legit insane person. But I don't know, weird gut feeling about Gamrot, even though I don't love it. I'm going to take him on that assumption that he will be able to work in that ground game a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, probably fares well for you because I pick against him a lot. And I think the only fight that he lost that I correctly picked against him was Beneil. I think I picked against him 3 times.
And he's 2-1.
And he's 2-1, if I remember correctly, because I picked him to lose to Jalen Turner. He lost to he beat Jalen Turner.
Yep.
Oh, maybe it's just 1-1. Because his Sarukian fight was the one directly before Beneil. So actually, he's only 1-1 against me. So maybe, you know what? I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Marissa, this will be the decider on whether or not your fucking Gamrot hate is founded.
But it really isn't hate because I do like him. It's just I was very high on Jalen Turner after losing that fight and Dan Hooker. It's like, all right, maybe
it wasn't Lamos that I had this same issue with, was it?
That you kept picking against.
Yeah. It was a woman fighter.
Jessica Andrade.
It was Andrade.
And that makes you look good now.
Yeah, no kidding. But Gamrot is your Andrade, kind of, sort of.
No, I always picked Andrade.
No, I'm the equivalent.
Because I don't Andrade is my Gamrot. Yeah.
There you go. I'm proud of you, buddy. We figured that one out. All right, we can go ahead and start the draft now.
So we have 6 categories, I think, set up, right? If I remember correctly, we drew this up earlier today based on a little Twitter. I guess it was a tweet with like build your perfect UFC fighter. They had a lot of categories, so we shortened it a little bit, made it a little more concise. So the 6 are durability, cardio, IQ, heart, ground game, which, if you're really new, is wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and stand-up, which we determined was just striking, speed, and power.
Yes.
So just kind of combinations there. And so, like Jackson said earlier, it's going to be, you can only draft one fighter for one category. They can't be used for the rest. And we have not decided a way to determine who's picking first or second, though. So
no. So what I'm going to do, I have my phone.
Okay.
I'm just going to say heads or tails. Go ahead and call it, Eisman.
All right. Tails never fails.
Siri, heads or tails? Oh, she didn't say anything, but it is heads. I can
Okay.
To the thing.
I trust you. I can't see it, but I trust you.
Here,
which one do you want?
I screenshotted it. So I'm going to take, give me second, because I like the
second.
Loop. Yeah, I'm going to take the loop around.
Okay. I'm going to go with the intangibles right off the top.
Okay.
Jon Jones fight IQ. The guy is just a monster.
That was my 1A. I had bad feelings about
you knew I was gonna take that. Come on.
I really didn't. I thought that you might lean, because I had, for example, I had some issues with my cardio. I'm not just totally in love with who I've got. My heart, I feel like, can fluctuate a little bit. But there are some clear, standouts.
Very best.
So
Jon Jones is the very best. And the thing is, actually, you know what? I'm not going to say anything until afterwards. I'm going to let you make your picks before I go through my my thought process with this.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get the 2 things that viewers will care about. When they're watching a fight, what do you care about? You care about their stand-up, you care about their ground game. Give me Max Holloway on the feet and Makhachev on the floor.
Okay, I respect that. Hold on, I'm taking notes so we have them. So
yes.
So stand up. Max is that's a good pick.
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
Which he also would have been an awesome selection for durability, but I decided that his boxing is just too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then ground game, I had Islam.
Yeah, and ground is Islam.
Yeah,
fair enough. So I'm gonna continue with the intangibles.
Okay.
The heart. Alex Volkanovski.
Okay.
There is no badder dude. You saw what happened in the Ortega fight. You saw what happened in the Islam fight, where Islam has him like almost in a rear naked, but like not really at the end of the round, and he's like screaming like that. He's just a badass. Alex Volkanovski is a straight up badass, and like, yeah, I think that matters a lot in terms of being a champion. And you notice that the guy with the best fight IQ and the guy who I think has the best heart are 2 of the most dominant champions in the sport.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going with that. And then I'm gonna go with Chin here. And
Are you talking about durability?
Oh yeah, durability.
Okay.
Durability. Yeah. I was gonna use Max Holloway for that, but you took him, which, fair play. But I think a guy that's a little slept on in this category is Marvin Vettori.
Ooh, you know what? That's good. I did not include Vettori in my options because he was one of them that it's like, I know he's like, if all my options run dry, he's there, but he wasn't like at the forefront. But pound for pound, he does have an incredible amount of durability.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's impossible to take out of there. Like, literally, it's impossible to finish Marvin Vettori.
Yeah, he's a freak. Okay, so I will tell you right now, I'm taking durability and I'm taking heart.
Okay.
It's the same two guys for both. I've just got to decide which side of the coin I want more.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Justin Gaethje's heart.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take Mike Chandler's durability.
Those are both also very good. I can't hate on either of those.
Well, and the problem is like you could flip them. Like I knew coming into this that's kind of a layout that I wanted, but I didn't know who I would rather have and what. So I am gonna, because we see Chandler eat bombs.
Yeah.
And just get absolutely pummeled, but he's still standing and he's still fighting. And then Gaethje, very much the same, never out of a fight, always ready to put pedal to the metal and just hammer down and win a fight. So right now, I'm feeling pretty solid about my guy.
Yeah, listen, that is your guy. I can't. Yeah. That is your guy. I'm gonna go cardio here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Merab.
I like that.
I mean, Merab's guy attempted 700 takedowns against Petr Yan, didn't get any of them, or got like 2. But like the fact that he could keep that pace over 5 rounds is really, really impressive. So I'm going to take Merab's cardio, and the ground and striking. Now I can say it because I picked the other 4. Those I feel like are, I feel like those ones are where there's so much variability that there's never really a clear cut. There's never really a clear cut like number one. I guess with the ground game, Islam makes the most sense to be like the clear cut guy, but there's still so many other people out there who have a great ground game. And honestly, like since you already have yours, I'm just gonna tell you the other people I've listed.
Go for it.
This. Charles Oliveira, Aljamain Sterling, Umar Nurmagomedov, and Aaron Blanchfield are my 4. And it's really dependent on, what style do you like? Because Charles and Blanchfield are definitely more of the jiu-jitsu side. Obviously, Charles is. Blanchfield is as well. And Aljo and Umar are the straight up wrestlers who just wear you out. God, this is really tough. I'm gonna go. All right. So I'm going to go with the wrestlers because historically they have had more success than the jiu-jitsu people. So now I'm down to Aljo and Umar. Oh my God.
I wouldn't qualify this as comfortable, but I do know who I'd take out of those options.
I think, God, it really pains me because he's one of my rising stars to go against him, but I'm going to go with Aljo here just because he's more established of the 2.
I'm right there with you. He's won titles with his ground game.
Yeah.
Like that's a hard thing to bet against.
Yeah.
All right. So you have your 4, right? 3.
I have 5. I have 5.
Cool. So now
I just took the butt buddies with my 2 picks.
Okay, cool. All right. So I've got left fight IQ and cardio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead. I think the clear number 2 in fight IQ is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Okay. That eliminates one of my strikers.
Yes, he is just such a cerebral,
Yeah,
which is hilarious because he's the nicest human being on planet
yeah.
Earth. But he's got it all figured out, and he's very well put together, and he knows what he's looking for. So,
Yeah.
I now have cardio.
Yep.
And I'm looking at 3 guys. I'm looking at Marty Usman.
Yep.
I'm looking at Colby Covington.
He was on my list too.
And I'm looking at Tony Ferguson.
Okay.
I don't, but
given the
yes.
given how shit he's been, but you know what? If we're talking prime Tony, yes. I got you on that. Yeah.
I am that the Ferguson part is more just so that we can mention him because he is an all-time cardio great.
Yeah.
So he's not the option. It's really just who do I want between Usman and Colby.
Colby.
I think it's Colby.
I agree with you actually, and I'm a big Usman guy.
Yeah,
I think
I'm not a huge Colby guy. I respect the grind. I respect the will to be hated by everyone and and get profit off that. But I mean, he is a different kind of animal. Whenever it comes to just being able to hang in there, he's almost Dagestani in how cardiovascularly well he is.
Yeah.
So, I'm more than happy to take that and just put it right there at the top of my list.
Yep. I'm with you. Colby was on my short list for cardio and Usman wasn't, to be honest. I had Merab, Colby, and Valentina were my 3 for cardio.
Tina popped up on my heart. I thought about Tina for heart. But ultimately it came down to the Gaethje Chandler thing.
Yeah. So with my last pick, this was by design because I had the most options for striking because there are so many different ways that you can be good at striking, so many different disciplines and styles and stuff like that. And so all of my options are on the table except for Wonderboy now. And as I'm looking at the list,
you didn't have Max on your list?
Well, you took Max away on Chin. Oh, yeah. Max
I thought you meant in totality.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm left with 7 right now. I have 7 names.
God.
I'll go through them. Dustin Poirier, great boxer. Sean O'Malley, stylistically very hard to deal with, very unconventional. Yair Rodriguez, similar to Sean O'Malley, I think, as a striker. Israel Adesanya, and this would have been a shoe-in for me. This would have been far and away Izzy 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Before he fought Sean Strickland. I would have taken Izzy. I might have taken him with my first pick. But yeah, his inability to deal with Sean Strickland, there's
a lot of sour grapes after that fight.
Yeah, I knew he had to be considered because he still is a great striker, but I feel like you can't say that he's the best or even the second best. Jiri Prochazka is on the list as well.
Love Jiri.
And 2 more, Cyril Gane and Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Okay.
That's my list of 7. But I don't know what it is. It's kind of been in my gut ever since I made this list up. It might be a surprise, but I'm gonna go with Jiri.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Suga was my number 2.
Okay.
Mine went Max, Suga. I didn't have Jiri on my thing, but I think that's mostly just because we haven't seen him in so long that I've forgotten how intense and terrifying that man is.
Yeah, and of course, this is assuming Jiri's at full strength and at the top of his game. There is some speculation just because he's been out for so long, but God, you talk about when you think of the combo of speed, power, and the technique and just the striking, Jiri is so difficult to deal with just because of how different he is as a striker. And I think I sacrificed some with the speed specifically. You got guys like Sean, you got guys like Yair and Izzy with the speed. but none of them can make up for the power that Jiri Prochazka brings in his strikes.
And the
Not
insane
close.
angles that he can get off.
Yes.
Like, go
Yes.
rewatch what knocked out Dom Reyes.
Yeah. To me, because power outweighs speed all the time, because you can land a bunch of strikes, but if you can find that one shot, it changes everything. And Jiri is and he's not the thing is he isn't one of those one strike guys. He's not a Derek Lewis type striker. Like, he can throw the volume, and that's what's so devastating about his striking game to me.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Jiri is one of them that after you said it, it was like he should have at bare minimum been on my list.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a quick rundown. I've got the stand-up of Max Holloway, the ground game of Islam Makhachev, the durability of Mike Chandler, the heart of Justin Gaethje, the IQ of Wonderboy Thompson, and the cardio of Colby Covington.
Yeah, and I had first overall pick was Jon Jones IQ. Then I took Alex Volkanovski's heart, Marvin Vettori's durability, Merab Dvalishvili's cardio, Aljamain Sterling's ground game, and Jiri Prochazka's striking.
Perfect. And then what we'll do, like we always do with these drafts, I'll make sure to put a poll on Spotify. If you guys listen over there or just want to, contribute to that, you just go over, click an option, let us know. And yeah, easy enough. But before we end this episode, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're on all of them. You can find us on every single one. You just look up the Ice Mac MMA show, MMA podcast, if we're being technical. But Ice Mac should get you there. It's a weird enough name as is. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the videos. Make sure to share them with the buddies. Make sure to literally do anything you can to engage, because we really appreciate it. And we want to just keep on making this thing bigger.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're almost, I was thinking about this earlier, we're almost at a year of doing this podcast, which is crazy.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, like 100 views isn't a lot compared to a lot of videos, but I mean, for us, it's it was a big milestone, so we appreciate it, and yeah, just want to keep growing.
And it's been after what, 5 episodes on YouTube?
Yeah.
5 video episodes on YouTube. Like that's a lot of steam. So hopefully you guys will help us continue to pick up even more steam. Alex, you got anything else?
No, I'm all set. We'll see you next week.
See you.